Hello, I'm Joshikins, and welcome to another Random Rants. This time, I'm going to be talking about which Final Destination movies you need to watch in order to understand the series. So if you're going, I sort of interested in Final Destination, but I don't feel like watching all 5 films, so I want to know if I do have to watch all 5 of them or if I can just skip by watching like 2 or 3. Okay, so that's what this video is going to be about, and if you're interested in that, this video is for you. Okay, so for those of you who don't really know what Final Destination is about, you have a cast of characters and they die throughout the movie. And I admit the thing that got me interested in this, this movie series is the fact that it involves death. And, death is seeking to kill these kids because, well, they escaped the thing that was supposed to kill them. And I sort of have, I guess, an odder view on death than some because I find it just as necessary as life. And so, while I do enjoy these films, it's like they should just, not react on the visions, because 1, bad shit happens afterwards. 2, death isn't really evil, it's just a thing that happens. And it's a fucking drama queen if we have anything to go by in these movies, because holy shit. And maybe in a future video or a future blog post, I'll define what I think of death, but for now, that should be enough of an explanation to talk about these Final Destination movies. So, I would only say 2 are really necessary viewings, but I'll go into detail more throughout this vlog. The first one you have to see, of course, is the first one. This movie sets up the plot of the series. It shows that something sends these kids, this kid or person, this vision. And so then they save themselves and a few other friends, from the death that was supposed to kill them. And then throughout the movie, they're trying to escape death. They find out that death has a order that it's going to kill them in, and so they have to figure out the order to help stop, them all from dying. And in the first movie, the first death will seem odd because it's unlike anything else in that movie or the rest of the series. It's that death tries to cover up the first murder. And that's really interesting, but the problem is that it's not followed in that movie or the rest of the series at all. It's awesome, but, it didn't go through, so I think they probably should have changed it, but all in all, it's a good setup to the rest of the series. The second movie that it has to be viewed in order to get a full sense of the series is the second movie. It's actually connected to the first movie, and you're like, oh, of course it is. It's a sequel, and of course there's going to be a character that will return. The third and fourth movies are like, it's sort of, I guess, sort of a Silent Hill thing if Silent Hill didn't even have any other characters referenced in the other games. Well, I may get to that in a later date because I do plan to do multi-vlog reviews of the whole series eventually, so I'll get to that then. But the second one ties in with Only Survivor, the first film, plus it expands on the premise. The premise is that death kills people in a certain order, and long story short, in the first film, death killed it by going, forward, from the start of the list, from like number 1 to number 5. And in the second movie, it revises that. It changes a new angle and goes, instead of 1 to 5, 5 to 1. Reversing list, going backwards, so adding a new angle. Plus, it also shows that the people being targeted in this movie were ones that lived because that there were survivors in the first movie. So besides adding a new angle to Death's list, it also provides more of a context of how hard Death's job is when someone gets a vision and they have people survive. Because it's not just them surviving, it's other people surviving and the plan going to shit. And so number 1 and number 2 are really the only films that would be necessary to understand it. As I said, 3 and 4 basically just have, there's the flight and nothing else, unrelated to each other. But even though I said that, I would recommend number 5. And I did sort of a binge watch over a few days from the first one to the 5th one. So after the good 1 and 2, I had to drench down 3 and 4. And so when I saw 5, I was like, I guess number 5 is more of a palate cleanser because it's really more of a return to form. And like the 3rd movie, it had, death is going to kill us. Not death is going to kill us. Hey, there are all these references to death. Isn't it funny? LOL. Because death for like 5 or 10 fucking minutes. No subtlety whatsoever. And the 5th one has these references to death, but they're a hell of a lot more subtle. So it's a good palate cleanser. Plus, the guy who played the Candyman appeared in 1 and 2, but not 3 and 4. So just seeing him again is like, you're one of the best parts of this fucking franchise. Thank you for being back. So if you're going to watch 3 and 4, you're going to have to, I think, watch 5 just for the palate cleanser. And while this definitely isn't the strongest of the series, I would recommend it just because while the movie itself isn't good, there's this one plot point that is just fucking awesome. And they should have had a better movie around it because it is a great idea. And that's number 4. And I might be doing my next multi-vlog review on the movie, so I'll go into more detail on what I think, but it has the most hilarious death opening. I mean, it's fucking hilarious. I'll cover that later. And the thing with number 4, the plot point I'm referring to is that it turns out that Death has smartened up and is using the visions to get the people to where it wants them. Sort of figured out that, hey, these visions are coming, so I'm just going to screw with them. And in the series, there has been no mention of who is sending these visions. There are very many fan theories, but I don't have time right now to cover them, but they are fucking awesome. I guess in the books or the comics of Final Destination, that there's, some other, long story short, there's some other deity. And so I'm going to be using that theory, that there's this deity there that's sending the people these visions to screw the mess with Death. And so Death takes those visions and is like, okay, I know this thing's going to do this, so now I'm going to send the person my own visions, and so they'll think they're escaping me, but they'll end up just right where I want to be. So that's why I think the cool plot point is Death using the visions to screw them over, because near one of the last lines of this film is like, I think Death's something like, Death's meant us to be here. And so yeah, I think that if that movie around it had been better, I think it would be better remembered. God. So yeah. So for those of you who have seen all the Final Destination movies, do you think my recommended list is good? Do you think I left some movies off? Like, should I just have done 1 and 2 and just been done with it? And if you're going to just try to watch only the Final Destination movies that you have to get grasp of the series, do you think this video has helped you? And if you do follow my recommendations, please tell me how they worked out. And I have been Jashykins, owner at jashykins.blogspot.com. If you go to my blog, you can see wonderful vlogs like these, some even better. And on my sidebar thingy, if you go to my blog, I have a poll of who is your least favorite Hunger Games character? Everyone seems to fucking hate Gale right now. And the dragon on the sidebar thingy still has to be named, and if you go to my blog, you can see the rules and benefits of naming the dragon. And if you have been watching my videos for a while, if you've been keeping up with my blog for a while, and you've been like, hey, I'd like to support Jashykins financially, there are 2 ways you can do that. If you are watching this video on my blog, links on the sidebar thingy. If you're watching this on YouTube, links are in the description. Anyways, I do writing commissions via Fiverr, so if you want a Final Destination, I can't speak English. So if you want a Final Destination fanfic, I'm your person. And if you don't want a writing commission but still want to donate, I am Jashykins on Patreon. $1 a month gets you ebook updates. Yeah, I'm going to be releasing my very own ebooks, and you'll get sneak peeks about them. And for $5 a month, you get a monthly exclusive 30-minute vlog about random subjects. Like, no one has been a Patreon for like a few months, so like, if you're one of the first people to be a patron, and yeah, you might notice me rambling a lot because I'm like, no one's viewing these, so I'm just going to go random. I don't know what I'll be doing in the future, but I do try to update about the blog and about things that interest me each month. Very random shit. Once I get patrons I know are watching, I'm going to, do things fair, but right now it's like no one's been a patron for like 2 or 3 months, so I'm just going to go, hi, the sky is blue, let me talk about that. And until next video, goodbye.